Ooh, Alice Miller's got me so stunned you get in the face mask. I couldn't wait to take it off before I said something. Still reading The Drama of the Gifted Child, or listening to it on an audiobook. And one of the things that Alice Miller was talking about is how contempt becomes a self-preservation device for those who have yet to mourn the inadequacy or cruelty of their upbringing. So when you felt abandoned or tortured or disregarded by your parents growing up or by your caregivers or trusted adults, etc., if you haven't taken the time to mourn that, what that can do is you feel very isolated, particularly if you're gifted. So usually a gifted child who has a parent who feels competitive with that child will at once claim credit for and be proud of and brag on the accomplishments of that child, but will also feel competitive with the brilliance of that child. So, let's say in my case, okay, I'm a voice teacher and my children are both going to be in a musical. And my daughter has one of the big roles. And she is an amazing singer. And I have done my share of professional singing. And I was helping her rehearse this morning, and I was thinking about, similar times in my childhood where, if I would show any spark of brilliance, it would get smacked straight down by the people around me, because everything that I was good at was offensive to them, because I couldn't be better at anything than them. Well, who do you think you are? Or your education's corrupting you? Or, you think you're better than everybody? And that's what would happen. If I accomplished anything, they would at once take credit for me and brag about me and be proud of the things that I had accomplished, but then also in private, behind closed doors, denigrate me for the very brilliance that brought that achievement about. And so I was thinking about it with my daughter, where I'm not competitive with her. I'm always like, yes, girl, shine, do, yes, awesome. I'm right behind her. I'm her ally. And if we're rehearsing and she gets something wrong and she looks like she's getting frustrated, she's not having fun anymore, we stop rehearsing. I don't care if she gets it wrong. Okay, so whatever, you go up on stage and you get a note wrong. Who cares? You're up on a stage singing. Congratulations, you're a badass. It's kind of how I feel about it. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't care. You're not a reflection. Like, the fact that you are getting up there and doing it is just amazing enough to me. Anything that she does is amazing to me as far as I'm concerned. And that was just not the case with me growing up. So if I did anything great, it would be, oh, wow, amazing. She did this incredible thing, but who the hell do you think you are? And so that leading to the fact that Alice Miller then moved on. She was saying that contempt becomes a shield for people who were in a situation like I was, but haven't faced why they felt that way, haven't faced why they felt isolated by their own talents, why they felt isolated by anything that made them extraordinary, and why they felt like they needed to be alone. And that isolation from your family for your very brilliance or for being who you are in any way, that very isolation that they heap upon you is something that you do to yourself as you become an adult. So you become contemptuous and angry. And I certainly went through my mean girl phase. I remember sitting at a lunch table in college, and I was looking around at the girls that were sitting with me, and they were all mean. And it made me think to myself, oh my God, I'm at the mean girls table. Like, I'm one of the mean girls. Oh my God. And it just shocked me, because I had always been bullied by those girls. The mean girls were the ones picking on me. My family was the mean girls, not me. And I'm like, why the hell am I at the mean girls table? And I thought it was because I actually was a mean girl, but I probably did some mean things and said some mean things. But she went on to say that there are often gifted children who go about in the world not saying mean things to people, being nice to people, acting like everybody else, and not being braggadocious there any more than anybody else. They talk about their accomplishments, but not in a, well, everybody look at me kind of way. They're not grandiose in the way that they present to people. They can be perfectly humble. And they can, be kind to other people. They can uplift other people. And they still, which is something I've run into in my life, they still make the people around them feel judged or belittled or isolated or, condescended to. And a lot of times those gifted children will look around and go, why does everybody assume I'm going to be condescending? Like, why is everybody assuming that I'm judging them all the time? Like, why? And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect. I can certainly be judgmental, but I have been saying for years and years that if I walk into a room full of a group of people and you ask them in 5 minutes who the villain in the room is, they're going to point at me. And I like, even if I'm silent, even if I don't say anything, even if I'm just nice to everybody, they automatically assume that I'm going to be the villain. And I think there's two reasons for this. One is that I was masking very heavily for a really long time and it makes me look dishonest. The mask is not genuine and people can feel that. So, now that I'm dropping the mask and sort of showing up more genuinely in spaces, I was baffled because it was still happening to me. And Alice Miller just nailed it. Gifted children who have been isolated for their brilliance by their own family, who attempt to stop self-isolating and go out into the world, may inadvertently be projecting the attitudes of the people who brought them up. Because you can't help but mimic the people who brought you up a little bit. Just the way you stand, the way you look at people, the expressions you use, the tone in your voice, all of that stuff is going to translate from the environment that you were brought up in. And if you were brought up in an environment that is couched in snobbery or isolation or judgment of people based on their brilliance or reacting with fear to anything that's different or reacting with anger or judgment to anything that's different, you might be projecting that totally unintentionally. And I think that's what happens with me. I think I walk into these spaces and people automatically assume I'm looking down at them. And it's probably because of the postures that I have had to adapt in order to survive in an environment full of people that look down at everyone. Hopefully that's as helpful to some of you as it was to me. If you've got childhood trauma, I absolutely recommend you picking up Alice Miller's Drama of the Gifted Child, because it is blowing my mind on the daily. Stay safe out there, friends. Keep fighting the good fight. And say what you got to say, even if you're wearing clay on your face.